Hello, hello, third graders. You must be so excited about your book and your writing and all the research that you've been doing. And I know I am. I'm learning things that are so exciting for me. And I wanted to share them with you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you a little bit of the work that I've done because I think it's important to at least get a sense of how the process has been working. It's one thing to have the product, which you have at your disposal. You do have the final piece and what it looks like, and you can always use that. But to actually have the product, the process of how we get there is also very valuable. So going back to the beginning of your Brazil hybrid document, this week of June 1st to 5th, which was last week, you should have done all this kind of crazy research, right? And then moving into the following week, June 8th to 12th, which is the week that we're in, you have been choosing your cultural topics and really honing in on some of the details of your research. So I wanted to show you, I've done a little bit of daily life. I've got some landmarks now in here, Christ the Redeemer statue, Cristo Redentor. That's terrible. I promise I'll never do that again. Sugarloaf Mountain. And then I'm really honing in on the food. This is what I do. I run a lot, so I'm always hungry. So I'm really like focusing on that. But anyway, in addition to that, the cassava, which is like that, it's kind of like a potato, and foods that are unique to the different regions in Rio might have different types of foods around, but there are some that are pretty much countrywide. But you might see a mix of vegetables and meats and cornmeal molded into pans, and also barbecued meats that are first marinated in Rio. You might see brigadeiros and passion fruit cheesecake. That's really tasty desserts to try. And you might see some Brazilian cheese rolls, which they call pão de queijo, and moqueca, a Brazilian fish stew, which really had my heart. And so nonetheless, this week, the week of June 8th to 12th, you are not only honing in on your research of these cultural subjects, but you are also starting to decide what is coming first, what is coming second, and what is coming third in your story. So I might have this cultural food experience coming first, and then I might have because I told you I had made some decisions about my cultural subjects, and I kind of wanted food to come first. So I'm actually going to change that right now. I'm going to write number one there instead of number three. And then the second thing that I want to incorporate daily life throughout. But I really think that the second thing I'm going to keep it as second, is the landmarks, because the next thing that they do, where they're going to go and visit a couple of landmarks, and then throughout the story, there will be bits of daily life incorporated, but they're on the third leg of this. I'm really going to hone in on this pickup game of soccer. Okay, so getting back to this part of the organizer, this is the week that you are actually planning things out. So if you haven't already gotten to this, I'm urging you to start going through it. So I started my story plan already. So I wanted you to see the characters in my story. Well, her name is Susie. She's from New York City, and she has this chance to go as an exchange student in Rio and stay there for a week. How did my character end up there? Well, she wrote an essay, and she got into this essay contest that way. And you can decide for yourself, but this is how I came up with it. The lead, well, I'm so excited. I'm starting with dialogue. I'm so excited, Susie explained. The day had finally arrived. Susie was going to see her dream come true of being an exchange student in Brazil for a week. She had won the essay contest to visit Brazil with one parent or an adult and will experience the culture firsthand, and she's going to do that with her older sister. I made this decision while I was typing this. It might be her parent, or it might be her brother. I don't know. I might change my mind. It might be your grandfather, like in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'll make that decision as I start writing it to see what makes sense. And that's your opportunity as a writer to make those decisions as you write. And as you start to peel away at this banana, so to speak, when you're doing that and you get a full flavor of the fruit, you might change your mind. You're like, what is she talking about? Bananas, right? Stay with me, guys. And then what cultural experience does your character encounter first? And I've decided that's going to be food. So how did this character arrive in this place or this experience in the first place? Well, they're going to fly, obviously, and they got there because they won a contest. How will you teach the reader about this Brazilian experience? Well, this character, Susie, is going to arrive in Rio at around the time when the most important meal of the day is served. So the family that they're staying with is so proud to show this girl and her sister their favorite meal, which is going to be the Brazilian stew, the cheese rolls, and the passion fruit cheesecake. And by the way, that Brazilian stew is called moqueca. And I just really I saw a picture of it in my Epic book that I was looking through, and it just really jumped out at me. Let me see if I have it here. No, it's a little bit further into the story. These are the cheese rolls. I'm like, oh, bring it on. And then there's the moqueca. There's the fish, and you can serve it with this delicious crusty bread, and it's got some parsley on top. I mean, that to me is you might be going, ew, because maybe you don't like fish, but if you do, this is Italians have a version of it. It's called, Sean, do you remember the Italian version? Like soup de pesce. It's the same kind of a thing. It's like a fish soup. And so in any case, that was really something that had sort of grabbed my attention a bit. So going back to, how do I get that out of there? Oy, oy, oy. Nonetheless, foods of Brazil, I want to get out of there. There we go. So I'm going to go back to my graphic organizer. And so I know that she won an essay contest. They're going to arrive there and they're going to get their favorite meal served to them. What cultural experience does your character engage in next? And that's what you're going to do, the exact same thing now. Okay, so next up, they're going to be, they're going to go to visit some landmarks. So I would type in landmarks. And how do they arrive from their first location? I'm going to say, well, they wake up in the morning, and the family takes them to their favorite sites. And the way they're going to learn about this is, I think in this case, the family will teach them. Just like if you were hosting a foreign exchange student in your home, they were coming to New York for their first time, wouldn't you want to take them? Oh, you've got to see Washington Square Park. It's my favorite park. They have a fountain in the middle and everybody sits around and we eat ice cream and we feel the spray of the water. And it's just such a cool thing to do on a hot summer day. And you're going to take them there and you're going to teach them about it because you're going to tell them what you know. I think that makes sense for this, that the family's going to teach her and her sister all about their favorite places. And they're going to take them to the Cristo Redentor and the Sugarloaf Mountain. And then finally, you would go to the cultural experience that they're going to engage in last. And for us, it's just going to be a mix of other other cultural experiences. But for us, it's that soccer game. And I really want them to have a pickup soccer game experience in my story. Okay? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I want you to know that when you are at this point of your writing, this is where it gets kind of fun, because now you get to make all these decisions. You're no longer letting the research decide for you about things. Now you are like, oh no, I want my character to to stumble upon something, or I want my character to almost step on a poison dart frog and then have somebody say, whoa, look out, you don't want to step on that. Whatever it is that you decide that you want to do in your story, make it fun and interesting. And remember, it's like 2 pages. You're not writing this dissertation, to graduate from med school. You're writing 2 pages. Oh my goodness. All right, my friends, enjoy the rest of this process, and we'll see you in a couple of days. All right, take care.